All righty. Looks like we are live. All right. Let's get everybody piled in here. We are live on Rumble, YouTube, X, and TikTok. If you would, everybody, let me know where you're at. Tell me where you're accessing the live from. And if you are on X, Rumble, or YouTube, send me a chat. All of the chats should be active and live as we speak. We're waiting for our mods to get in here. They should be joining us shortly. How's everybody doing? TVA2X from North Carolina, welcome. All righty, we got people piling in. Love to see it. Oh, there's James. Let's get James in here. All righty. Jen, hi Sam, hi Jen. James, you there? Let's see. Is that you, James?
Yes, sir, that's me.
Hello there. Good morning.
Well, in some parts of the country, Sam.
Well, that's that's very true.
I didn't really know how to address you. I wanted to say good morning because I know you're still 2 hours ahead, but
right
out on the East Coast, there's been a lot that's happened, at least on the eastern part of this country.
Oh, isn't that the truth? Isn't that the truth? Well, Alex just joined us. Hi, Alex.
Good morning.
Hey, Alex.
How are you guys?
Doing great, man.
Well.
It's not just the East Coast getting hammered. FYI, the Midwest. I sent Sam some photos. I have tree branches 16 inches in diameter that are snapped from the ice. It's the trees, everything here looks like it's lined with diamonds in the sunlight. It's absolutely beautiful, but so dangerous.
It is beautiful. And you said you've been having intermittent power outages, right?
Oh, the whole state's had issues.
Wow. Crazy. So we've got Chris from Utah. Welcome, Chris. Pineapple, ha ta ta. What that means. Barbie from Pittsburgh, welcome. Bell369, welcome. USN CB Lewis, thanks for your service. My pleasure. Thank you for being here. Jane Handy from Alabama. We've got Carrie from Kansas City. Welcome, Carrie. Now, we're waiting for Ronnie. He should be coming and joining us here anytime soon. So did you guys see that Kamala was forced to verify and certify the election today?
I've never seen a more forced smile in my life.
I know. It's so true.
Well, the only thing that I'm going to add to it is I thought Kamala was probably more professional today than any day in office.
Well, yeah, she hasn't had a drink yet.
Yeah, exactly. So true. So very true. Oh, gosh. Carrie said that she looked terrified. Well, terrified or depressed. I'm not sure which, Carrie. Deb J's here. Welcome, Deb. Tim Black from West Virginia. Great. MJRH, just watching it. It was great. Laugh out loud. I completely agree.
Ronnie is here. Ronnie is here.
Oh, Ronnie's right here.
I got you.
Okay.
Yep, I got you.
There we go.
Hi, Ronnie.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, Ronnie. Welcome to the party, brother.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
I don't know what we should be partying about more. The certification of the election, peaceful transfer of power, or na 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 na. Trudeau, goodbye.
Oh, that's right. So, yeah, we need to talk about that. So Trudeau winds up resigning today, and then President Trump immediately tweets out or truths out the 51st state, and that's why he's leaving. What do you guys think? Do you think that's really got teeth?
Insert sound effects.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
So true.
Yeah, it's Canada is now the U.S.
I'm telling you, I would not be surprised. I think when he redid NAFTA And what's the new agreement called? MA or USMCA or something?
USMCA, correct.
Yeah. And ever since then, I'm wondering if that wasn't in the fine print somewhere.
Well, I think we should go read it.
There you go. Try and pull it up, Alex. See what you can find.
The fishing is just that bad in the United States. We have to go up there where it's undisturbed, you know.
Trump doesn't do anything unless there's an agenda behind it.
I would agree. I agree. MJRH.
And then the day Trump gets certified is the same day the leader of Canada resigns. Come on.
Yeah, I know. It's just way too coincidental. There are no coincidences. Gen X Hold says, let's go. I agree. Let's go. Susan PBA, Trump with a bunch of hearts. Wonderful. Oh, before I forget, everybody, if you're on TikTok, double tap that screen if you would. If you're on one of the other platforms, give us the positive affirmation button. It would be appreciated. Alex, are you able to monitor the chat on the other one? Can you see it?
Yeah, I've said good morning, good sir on all 3 other platforms. So.
Oh, okay, cool.
And if we could get 50,000 likes, Alex and Sam will do the MAGA shuffle.
you don't get to volunteer that, sir. You're gonna have to do it too.
There you go.
I wish I could. I don't have 1,000 followers.
We're gonna make that happen.
Yep. Everybody on TikTok, go over to Ronnie. It's Ronnie_LA1. Give him a follow. He's one of our mods. He's a good friend. He needs to get up to 1,000 followers. If you would, share this live out. Go over to Ronnie's. Give him a follow, and let's make this thing happen. So, Froze said, "Gotcha, Sam. Love the content. Wonderful, Jane Handy. I look forward to your daily. Thank you, Jane. I love doing it. It seems wonderful." So let's see, you guys. So we've got the certification goes through. It happened. Now we have Trudeau resigning. What other booms are we looking forward to in the very near future?
Oh, man.
The ones that we don't know about.
Yeah, exactly. Are we going to see a UFO appraisal again?
Everybody walking sideways with corn cobs.
Exactly. Oh, and Alex, I have to apologize. I quoted you on my daily the other day, and I think I misquoted you. You said that scared dogs are unpredictable, but you say scared dogs are dangerous, right?
Correct, but it was close enough, brother. I appreciated the acknowledgement.
Well, it's so very true, man. I still think something significant may happen, and it may happen in the near future. We'll see. I don't know what to expect at this point.
Everybody get their corn ready.
Yeah, exactly. So everybody on TikTok, if you would, double tap that screen. Oh, we've got a goal that we're trying to hit today. What are we at, you guys, today? Is it the hat and mustache thing?
I wish.
Yeah.
It's the hat and mustache, and you do have your live goal up. So
okay, cool. So if you're able to, everybody on TikTok, if you can send one of those, Rose, it helps with our ratings. It brings us up higher. We can reach more people. It'd be wonderful. Double tap that screen.
Come on, 25.
There we go.
Make TikTok great again.
Exactly. Oh, and that's a whole nother. Hey, there we go. We got one. Thank you, April Burgess. That's wonderful. Thank you, Susie. Thank you, Jane Handy. Oh, wonderful. Thanks, everybody. So, there we go. We've got, so as I said, we've got lots of different things happening today. We've got the election certification. What I find interesting, amongst many things, what happened to all of the UFO and drone stories? They're just gone.
Yep.
So my question is, what was going on during all of the drone stories that they didn't want us paying attention to?
Right. Very good point.
There's let's talk about the elephant in the room,
Which is
New Orleans and Trump Tower and a series of events that my own personal opinion, when you look at the individuals and you look at origin stories and kind of go down the rabbit hole just a little bit, to me, this whole thing screams an MK Ultra. I mean, an MK Ultra, if you don't know, go do a little history. It's not conspiracy. It's facts. It's real. It's true. And it's had many revisions since its original inception, but it's very disturbing to me. Following the Sean Ryan show and listening to his breaking of emails that the Las Vegas Trump Tower situation unfolded days before. He was blasting emails out to multiple social media people, and I think on that note, it proves more and more that the regular media is done, right? Like the Sam Shalhoubs, the Sean Ryans, the podcasters, the people have now become the disseminators of information, and it happens so fast. It happens so fast now.
Very true.
That we still have to use discernment. I mean, believe nothing that you read and half of what you see, right? Right. But it's certainly interesting times.
Well, and I also think too, Alex, it's really important to guard our hearts and our thoughts, because so many things are flying at us so quick. And as you know, I like to implement the 48-hour rule when anything major happens, because so many other things wind up coming up from that, oh my gosh, if we don't wait to see how it plays out, there's too many other variables that can happen.
Yeah.
Crypto Mob, if you keep trolling, you will be banned from the room. This is your one and only warning.
Thank you, Ronnie. So let's get some of this housekeeping cleaned up here. We've got April Burgess sent a whole bunch of different gifts. Thank you so much, April. It's truly appreciated. Jane Handy, another one. We've got, yeah, go ahead and just get rid of that Crypto Mob, if you would.
Speaking of crypto, Bitcoin has shot up 3,000 today.
Yeah, I know. I saw last time I looked, it was at a little over 101,000. What's it at now?
102.
Excellent. Excellent. I think XRP went up too, didn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
What's XRP at right now?
243.
Excellent.
Okay.
Excellent. So Jane Handy said, the drones are gone. Wow, something was up. So very true. America First said, hello. Hello, America. Stephanie, hi. Joy Adams from Michigan, welcome. Elvis Press Bone 1 said, I instantly thought MK2. Yeah, you and a lot of people who were in the know, Elvis, I agree. So if you're on TikTok, send me a note. Let me know where you're dialing in from. There I am, dating myself again. If you're on one of the other platforms, give me the thumbs up in the positive affirmation button on X, YouTube, or Rumble. And so D is from Colorado. We've got Rick SR27 from Virginia. Journey Woman 1958 from Texas. Welcome. Rob Ward, I don't either because I don't understand it or how it works. I don't know what that's referring to. But we've got Barbie from New Jersey, Stephanie from Oregon, Love Nation from Minnesota, Rod 658 from Maine. Welcome. Southside ABI from Georgia, Bell 369 from Orange County. Oh, wow, Bell from Orange County, right down the street from me. Welcome, Bell. Jennifer from Alaska, April Burgess from Michigan. Robbie Ward was talking about Bitcoin. Mary Kay from Nebraska. Hi, Mary Kay. Hawk from Wisconsin. Joy from Las Vegas. Welcome, Joy. Barry from Canyon Lake, California. Hey, another Californian. Love to see it. Buckshot from Minnesota. Carrie from Kansas.
Hey, Kansas guy, let's go.
There we go. Robotic engineer from Clemson, South Carolina. Cam McLean from Denver. Crypto Karen from Palm Beach. Wonderful. Welcome, everybody. So
we might have to have the Sam Shalhoub party in Minnesota. As many Minnesotans are in here.
Yeah, no kidding. I might just have to go and do a special live from over there.
Welcome, Bill Jordan.
Speaking of TikTok, do you think that the TikTok ban is going to proceed?
No.
No.
No, the TikTok ban has nothing to do with TikTok.
No.
I mean, literally, it has nothing to do with TikTok. If you read the bill, it's about censorship. It's about Patriot Act style squashing of First Amendment across all social media platforms. So do I think that will happen? I honestly, I don't. I think that there'll probably be a stay issued, and there'll be some sort of navigating through that and figuring out some ways for them to do it differently. But I don't think a ban is coming. No.
And there are some that believe that that platform has already been seized in some form or fashion by the Patriots, which I would not rule out at this point. I don't think President Trump would have come on the platform if there was any doubt about it, in my opinion.
That makes sense.
What about all the military bases on complete lockdown right now?
Oh, that's right. I did report on Quantico saying that they, because of the elevated threat level, they're actually, they shut down the I forget what it's called now. I just reported on this morning, the Trusted Flyer program.
The Trusted Traveler, yeah.
Trusted Traveler, yeah, exactly.
Well, requiring ID, and they have beefed up security at all entrances to every one of the military bases.
And it is 100% ID. It has to be 100% confirmed that they are actually the holder of that ID.
Correct.
What do you guys make of that?
What's
Is there
with
something?
what's with all the high security threat level?
Well, you just had two people commit some pretty heinous acts in two different cities on New Year's, so.
But they were linked.
I understand that. We just have to look at events of the past, things that have happened on the bases. I think they're ramping up for something.
I agree. I don't know what it is, but I think you're right. We've got Bill Jordan, Northeast Missouri. We've got Robbie Ward, 320 retired from Texas. Welcome, Robbie.
The one thing I wanted to say as far as that attack in Las Vegas and New Orleans, guys, how do we know there were even drivers in the truck? Those are self-driving trucks. How do we know they weren't programmed to just stop those destinations?
The Lightning,
like it was kind of like choreographed.
Yeah, the Lightning's not a self-driving truck, but I understand what you're saying about the Tesla. Jane Handy asked, my grandson is on leave from the Navy, so will they let him go back to Virginia base or not? Yes, if you're active military, they're letting people on and off of the base. It's just it's considerably more secure entry than it has been recently. Right.
And with regards to those two incidents that happened, we had Dan Scavino posting 3 different lightning strikes, one at the monument in Washington, one at, I believe, the Chrysler Building, and one, what was the third one? The third one was, the World Trade Center Memorial. And then you have, right after that, you have the guy that was driving the truck was driving a Lightning truck. I don't think that's coincidental. And then
both of which were rented from Turo,
right,
which is a Chelsea Clinton linked app.
Exactly right. And then
they're both EV.
And then you had Elon posting a picture of a Cybertruck 10 hours before the Cybertruck caught on fire. Not coincidental, in my opinion.
I agree. That's why I brought that up, because the Cybertruck is self-driving. The Lightning is an EV. It goes in both directions. I don't know if it was some subliminal to do with electric vehicles or some kind of message, but I don't believe that was a coincidence.
Right.
The whole thing was shocking.
Elvis Pressbone said, funny, the high security threat level didn't go up when the drones were buzzing around. That's a good point. Very good point.
Excellent point.
The last time, Cam McLean said the last time that happened was during the beginning of the Operation Iraqi Freedom in 2003. Wow, I didn't realize that. Holy smokes! I wonder if we're on the verge of something here. Stephen Ichabod Palmer, listening from North Central Missouri. Excuse me. Welcome, Stephen. Froze from Central Pennsylvania. Elvis Pressbone from Mid Missouri. There we go, another Missourian. Didn't
General Flynn make a remark a few mornings ago saying "buckle up" that you reported on?
Yes, he did.
Yep, and he's been blowing the horn for a number of weeks now. So I don't know what to make of that. Tater 5500. Hi, Sam. Good to see you. Hi, Tater. Welcome. So they have Barbie said that the Civil War, aren't we at war overseas already? Well, I think we have some kinetic action, but I don't think we're officially at war. What do you guys think?
I think we're absolutely at war.
Well, I think we're in an information war, but I don't think we are in a kinetic, congressionally approved war, are we?
Speaking of Flynn and looking at, I mean, if we look at executive orders, Trump put us in a state of emergency and never took us out. I mean, we could go several different ways with that, but if you listen to General Flynn talking about it, the kinetic days of kinetic war for the giants, right? Not the small Ukraines and other places like that, but the days of kinetic war are over. It's fifth generation warfare. It's cyber.
Right.
It's propaganda. It's it's just a different. It's just a different time.
Right.
And I think there's evidence of that all around.
This is an interesting statement by Ray Smileski. If we were at war right now, they couldn't swear Trump in. That's a pretty genuine statement, and I believe that to be true. Even though the government doesn't admit we are at war, we are at war.
Well, if the true insurrection happened on January 20th of 2020, then we've been at war that whole time.
Exactly right. But they never officially charged him. We've been over this before. They've never charged Trump with the 14th Amendment.
But I'm not talking about Trump. The real insurrection wasn't Trump. The real insurrection was the overthrow of Trump in the 2020, right? And so if we go off of that and we see that constitutionally in the Constitution transition happens January 20th at straight up noon, did that happen in 2020? The answer is no, it did not. It did not happen at 12 o'clock on the dot.
Well, and if we look back even further, you guys, the states of emergency that Bush #2 instituted, Clinton instituted, Bush #1, they're all still in effect. They haven't been rescinded. So I don't know what to make of that. Is that going to play out here in the near future? I don't know.
What is your guys' take on General Flynn? White hat or black hat?
100% white hat.
100%. No question in my mind. And that's
question about it.
It's interesting. Let's see, who was it that posted this? Oh, Squash Blossom said, where did they find that note? What I find really interesting, which reminds me of 9/11, was remember when they found the passports of the supposed aircraft hijackers outside of World Trade Center, and then they find the passport of this guy that was supposedly driving a truck that blew up. Come on, man. How far out of the realm of possibility does it have to get before people start to question?
Last night, Sean Ryan went live with a whole slew of military experts and professionals in a lot of these things, but one of which we're talking about demolition and the intensity of heat in different portions and places and the things. So imagine if you did have sitting in that truck your wallet and your passport in your back pocket, which you were sitting on top of. He's like, it's not out of the realm of possibilities that documents do survive. He said, I've seen multiple times where, steel in fire is melted to a puddle and there's paper right next to it that's not even charred. Like it's such a, tornadoes, they tear up an entire neighborhood and they'll skip over one house. So, probability is there that is legitimate. I'll just put that out.
Okay,
there.
all right, that's possible. Yeah, I guess it's possible. It just seems a little far-fetched to me.
The only thing to add to that is when the Vegas coroner saw the body, they said it was so charred it wasn't even recognizable. And they had to do deep investigation and all that stuff to make sure that was the guy.
Well, we know within 4 hours who these people were, but we still don't know.
Yeah, I know. It's suspect to say the least. So we've got Crypto Bat from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Shanna from Kansas, welcome. Deborah Pope from Alabama. Welcome. Deborah Fox from Florida. We've got, Shanna. Oh, there we go. Okay. We've got a lot of comments here about Flynn, and I think most of us agree that General Flynn is certainly a white hat, at least in my opinion. Cam McLean said the next few weeks will be wild. I thought it would have happened by now, but who knows how it's going to play out? What do you guys think?
Did you hear anything about them saying the guy in the Vegas incident, his DNA did not match his son's DNA? One of our viewers suggested.
Yeah, and they were talking about that last night as well. And again, then the wife or girlfriend or whatever immediately came out. Like, there's back and forth about, who was having extramarital affairs or she was having extramarital. I mean, let's not get off in the weeds and the grass about it all, because we don't know what was going through his mind. And let's entertain for the moment that extramarital was something that was going on in that dude's life. From personal experience, I can tell you something like that can push you to the edge of making extreme choices. So
I would agree with that.
Not judging what the man was without knowing the man myself. I'm not going to do that. But I will say that, we certainly don't have the whole story. Don't know if we ever will have the whole story. Based off of the emails that gentleman sent out, certainly was a troubled individual dealing with some things that were weighing heavy on him. So
Right. I agree. Crypto Bat said it's an informational war. I agree. We have. Sorry guys, I lost my place here. Oding said, we're at war in our own country. We've been invaded, and haven't you noticed? Well, yeah, I agree that there is a lot of influx there. MJRH said we've been in an unconventional warfare for longer than most people realize. I would agree with that as well. We've got Susie's here. Hi, Susie. We've got there are so many different ways to look at this. It's truly fifth generational warfare. We cannot apply the same principles that we had in world wars past to what's going on now, in my opinion. What do you guys think?
I agree.
Yeah, it just seems.
I agree.
Seems very
I'm on board
obvious.
with that.
So I think we've got to look at it from outside of the box. We've got to look at it from a different direction. That's all I'm saying. Hey, everybody, if you're on TikTok, will you double tap that screen? If you can send us a GIF, it raises our ratings. That would be wonderful. Share this live out. Let's get more people in here. And if you're on Rumble, X, or YouTube, give us the positive affirmation button. It would be appreciated. Hey, another hat and mustache. Thank you, James.
Rena Cherry Herbert said, I live, I think is what she meant, right by out Air Force Base, and there's a lot of activity right now. That brings up a great suggestion, I think, for everybody. If you see things going on like that, snap a little video of it, throw it up and put it out there, so that it may be absolutely nothing, but if we start to see 20, 30, 40, 60, 80, hundreds of videos flying around about the activity and what's going on, and train loads of things, like it tends to lend credibility to the fact that there is some activity happening that we all need to be paying attention to.
I agree. Here's Kimmer110 has a good question. What does white hat mean? What that means, Kimmer, is actually you guys tell it.
Well, so in the IT world, you have hackers, right? And you have white hats and you have black hats. Black hats would be identified as people that do hacking for nefarious reasons. White hats would be people that are hackers trying to thwart any of the bad activity, but have the knowledge to be able to achieve what the black hats can do. And then you have gray hats, which are people that are right in the middle. So the term white hat means that you are on the side of light and the right side.
Right. In other words, a good guy.
Black hats, bad guys. White hats, good guys.
Right, exactly. Proud Mom said, Flynn, Trump, and Cash, all good guys. I agree, 100%. And you can't tell me that the Congress is not shaking in their boots on the prospect of Kash Patel being confirmed as the head of the FBI.
Oh man. Oh man.
Exactly. It's big time. And they know it.
Paul Nizovich says, why does Trump want to do a rally on the 19th?
Well, I don't know why, but I do know that it is National Popcorn Day on the 19th. Did you guys know that?
No, I did not.
Yes. National Popcorn Day on the 19th, the same day he wants to do the rally. I don't know, man. I have my opinions. What do you guys think?
My popcorn is popped and ready, brother. I'm prepared for the show.
So very true. So very true. You guys, as we're doing, if you want to catch some of these comments, there's so many coming through. I can't keep up. So if you guys want to help, that'd be great.
Well, Sam, because you have over 225 viewers in here, it
wonderful.
It gets crazy, and we appreciate you guys tuning in and supporting Sam. And Sam, we appreciate your daily dispatch, brother. It keeps us all in the loop.
Thank you. I love doing it. I absolutely love doing it. So if you're on TikTok, let's double tap that screen. If you're on one of the other platforms, give us the positive affirmation button. Oding said, internet is the reason they lost the election. Well, again, I still believe, and we've got to be careful how we say this, guys, because you've got to be careful with the 2020 situation and not using that term. I got a couple warnings on that, but I have to believe that there is something that's going to trigger that exposure. What do you guys think?
100%. I think there's one trick and a trade left to be done before January 20th.
Well, we'll see. I don't know. What do you think, James?
You know, there has to be something before the 20th. Nothing seems to add up. We've talked about this before, and you've mentioned it's awful quiet. There's something abyss. There's something afoot. Something's going to happen. Whether it's not about fear mongering.
No.
We're not trying to scare people out. It's annoyingly quiet.
Yes.
And with the smile on Kamala's face today during the congressional, I'm at a loss for words all of a sudden. For them to accept the Electoral College and the confirmation of it, she seemed awfully confident to me. She had a smile on her face. You guys talked about her being smiling out of fear, and I don't exactly agree with that. I think it was more of a smirk, more of a, you don't know what's coming. So I don't know about that.
Yeah, you could be right. Ashley said, seeing Kamala today gave me the chills the way she was acting. Well, I mean, again, I have to believe something significant is going to happen. But then again, I thought there was something significant going to happen over the last 6 months, and we really didn't see anything, crazy. So I don't know. Maybe that's not going to. Stephen Ichabod Palmer said she's going to have to go back on her knee pads.
Get a couple bumps on the head of the desk.
Yeah, exactly. Heels up.
Well, it's the media's distraction. So while we were all captivated by drones, South Korea had declared martial law. Growing unrest and the presidents being impeached, and France, Germany, Georgia experiencing the collapse of their governments, citizens fighting for their rights, raising, flags of authoritarianism across the globe, Gaza, Sudan, Ukraine, Republic of Congo. Like, there's all these things going on around the world that if you're not plugged in, you don't know, because CBS, NBC, nightly news is not telling us all of these things that are going on. It's just,
I agree.
Do a little digging out there and see what's going on in the world.
Ashley said, I think they're waiting for the last minute to pull something crazy so it can't be fixed by the 20th. Well,
right. What's the latest on the CEO guy? Like, the health United Healthcare executive that was unalive. Like,
yeah, that
where'd
came
that-
in and out so quick.
Yeah, that was a here, there, and gone thing.
Yep. Same thing with so many of the narratives that have happened in the recent past. They're just there and then they're gone in a few days. That's just
I
not.
know that we've.
Hmm?
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Go ahead, James.
I know that we've covered this subject in several different ways, but it comes to mind that these vehicles that were used for these last attacks were rented from Turo. But my question is, and I know that Jeb Bush is on this board, and I know that Chelsea Clinton is on this board, but who actually had the titles and owned the vehicles that were used? I have not heard that question yet.
Oh,
Yeah,
very good question.
I don't think they'll divulge that. So I have a little 2013 Mini Cooper that I lease out on Turo. They don't disclose. I mean, I don't think they'll ever disclose who the actual owners were.
Well, I think in a case like this, or both of the cases, I think that's something that the public should probably get to know. I mean, it might be privileged information, but what happens if it's connected? What happens if the same person owned both vehicles?
I think it should be public information who the little white baggie in the White House belonged to.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh my gosh.
Good point. Good point.
Question I have is, why were they both electric vehicles?
I mean, you know.
It's another good question. Optic X said the left is falling apart around the globe. I agree. This is not just an America awakening. This is a worldwide awakening, in my opinion. It's happening everywhere.
Well, like Alex said, a lot of things haven't been going on in the nation over the past 6 or 7 months, but globally, there's been a lot of catastrophic events.
Well, there has been. And how many governments have fallen in the last 2 months? I think 4, maybe 5. That's a big deal.
Does anybody, any of you guys, do you guys follow Jan Hapler Hayes, Dr. Jan Hapler Hayes?
Oh, yeah. I followed her for quite a while. I'm not sure what to make of her for sure.
Yeah, I'm not 100% either, but I mean, she just came out yesterday and said major events before inauguration. So,
well, I mean, if you combine that with what General Flynn's been saying, it seems to line up.
head on a swivel.
And how many times has President Trump said 100% there will be a terrorist attack? Right?
Really?
He said
You
that
kinda
multiple
have
times.
to believe him. I mean, he's not wrong. He's never been wrong.
Right? I agree.
Maybe he'll have Kamala recite the Pledge of Allegiance at inauguration.
I know, right? God, I cannot believe he didn't know the flipping words. Wow. Leslie Fontaine said that Cybertruck at Trump Tower was a message. Scary. Well, I think you're right. I think it was a message. The question is, whenever things like this happen, I ask myself, who benefits from it? So if you look at it from that perspective, it may bring us to a different conclusion. I'm not saying one way or the other. I'm just saying it's another way to look at it.
Alex Soros posting on X of holes in windows. Like,
Yep.
There's messaging everywhere.
With money. Yep.
Yeah.
Happy Girl 70 said, what's going to be next? That's a good question. I wish I had a crystal ball. Actually, I don't think I wish I did, because I'd probably flip out if I knew what was going to happen next. She said, Gray Lady 59 said, Kamala just spoke leaving, and she used the words, quote, everyone fight for democracy. I did catch that as well. Gray Lady 59, was that a warning? Was that a statement? Was that, your guess is as good as mine. What do you guys think?
It's all up for grabs at this point. Truth is stranger than fiction. I say this to you all the time, Sam, and I don't think that even a crystal ball could predict either direction, peaceful or non-peaceful. Like, it's just a very strange time in history for all of us right now. That
Well, then she should be held accountable. the way everybody attacked Trump 4 years ago for saying, go out and fight for your freedom, how everybody took that as a call for all the right wings to go and do the January 6th event. Maybe people should hold Kamala accountable for saying that, so all the left-wing people can go out and do riotous activities.
Well, that's a good question.
The one thing that is Combat 101 is confuse your enemy. And there has been so much presented to the people, not only in the United States, but the world. We see something go on here, we see something go on there, then there's a spy balloon, a big hole shot in the side of a battleship. So many different distractions happening at once. There's millions and millions of people crossing the border. They're actually trying to get us confused, and that really is 101 combat. So with everything going on, it doesn't give us a chance to focus on any one thing. And if people do, then they step aside from what's really happening because they simply give up. But if our brains are scattered, we don't really get to concentrate on what's happening. And that's fearful. That's very fearsome.
I agree. We had Mary Kay said that, is it possible that the military was standing by in case they didn't certify the election? Well, I think we have to remember that there was over 1 million National Guard that were federalized under President Trump's first term.
Well, and they backed themselves into a corner because they removed the ability for the vice president to not certify the election.
Right.
That's themselves.
Exactly. Optic X said, amazing time to be alive. Special time in history right now. Absolutely. Amen. True. It is. We are certainly living in historic times. And I just don't see the equal to it, at least not anything that I'm aware of at this point.
I'm going to make a future prediction. There will be a number 47 on Rushmore when it's all said and done.
I tend to think you're probably right. Yep. Happy said, what's going on? I'm just coming on. Well, Happy, buckle up because there's a lot going on right now. We're trying to cover as much of it as we can. Joe, it's Kelly said, I'm surprised we haven't seen Antifa events like we did 4 years ago. That was a perfect point, Jojo. We haven't seen them. We haven't seen BLM. We saw the Palestinian uprising for a couple of weeks and it was gone. I think that indicates that the majority of the bad players have been taken off the board, in my opinion. What do you guys think?
Absolutely.
100%.
100%.
Right. And I think when you have 1 million National Guard federalized, let's not forget about the 60,000 man secret army that they have out there as well. How many times has President Trump referred to central casting? Over and over and over again. There's something to that. And we're not going to dive down that whole rabbit hole right now, but it's significant. What does it mean? Well, I'll let you research it on your own and see what you think.
It's interesting if you go look at federal jobs and you look at what's out there, the amount of advertisement for Space Force isn't really talked about. Mm-hmm. When you go look at fed.gov or usajobs.com and you look at what's available for federal jobs around the country, Space Force is hiring. They're looking for good people.
I got a buddy who works for him in cybersecurity as a contractor.
That's
really?
Awesome. But it's something that you don't see on television. It's something you don't hear about on radio.
No, it was joked about.
It is exactly being joked about. But me as a 100% disabled vet, I follow things like that, and I'm looking. I've always been looking. What else can I do? I haven't done enough. I need to do more for the country. So I go out and look at that. There's tons and tons of GS jobs available, starting at 9 all the way through the very top, and it's really pretty amazing. Even the headhunters don't even look for that.
Wow. Yeah. I have my theories on the Space Force. I think that, as we know, about a year and a half ago, all of the intelligence satellites for all of the 3-letter agencies all fell under the umbrella of Space Force. So we know that the intelligence is being controlled by the Space Force now.
Do you think, Sam, that the Space Force is a 60,000 member secret clan, secret group?
I don't know that it's just Space Force. I think that there are at least 60,000 people out there that are part of this operation. And I don't think we would know who they are. I think that's the point of it. It could be you, James, for all I know, because anybody who's part of that, there's no way they're going to let on that they're part of it, in my opinion. When you talk about secret military precision operations, the people that are involved, there's no way they would ever volunteer that information. I wouldn't think.
Exactly. That's why I say I'm a white dude for Harris. Just to, not let people know that I'm a part of the secret organization.
Yeah, well, we wouldn't know anyway, Ronnie. I mean, literally, anybody could be one, and we wouldn't know. Talked about, Odin said 9/11 is to the Patriot Act as drones are to the airwave control. Well, that's another thing people probably don't have forefront in their mind, is not only was the Patriot Act bumped up and made even more intrusive, but about 7-8 years ago, when the National Defense Authorization Act was passed, people don't realize that the majority of Americans' rights were trampled under that. If they deem you a terrorist of any sort, you lose all your rights immediately. And I think that's something that people need to pay attention to. And I think that's part of, you can look at it that they created that to go after the American citizens, or you can look that it was created to go after the nefarious people that have been in our government. To just a different way.
It may be parts of both, but the other part that a lot of people don't think about is it's a constraint against honorably discharged vets or retirees, because they hang their pension over their head. They say, we could get you for this, and it's an automatic loss of pension.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's not right.
Do you follow the Gateway Pundit?
Yes.
Okay, what is your take on it?
I think they come out with some good stuff. I don't know who's behind it, but I think, in my opinion, I think they do some good work. What do you guys think?
I think that I believe about none of what I read and half of what I see.
It's so true. I think that's a good way to look at it.
Such a political answer. I like it.
Well, yeah, I say, let's get Alex Speaker of the House.
They don't want that.
The real Alex Raymer, Speaker of the House.
They really don't want that.
No. You don't want a white dude for Harris being the House Speaker.
There he goes again.
Yeah, right. Elvis Pressbone said the Patriot Act must go. Well, I think we're in the process of that. I really think that we are moving towards real government, honest government, and again, not just here in America, it's all over the world. I mean, my God, Trudeau stepped down today. That's a big deal. Look at the problems that Macron's having in France. I mean, we've got how many different countries? The German government that fell. I mean, my God, we're in the middle of it. I'm telling you, we're in the, what do they used to say in Vietnam? We're in the middle of, we're in the thick of it, but it was a different term. I forget what it was, but we're in the middle of it, and it's an information war. And like you said, Alex, believe little of what we read or see at this point. Jed said that the NDAA and the Patriot Act are an abomination to the Constitution. I would agree. I think you're absolutely right. So everybody, if you're on TikTok, double tap that screen. If you can send a gift, that would be great. It raises our ratings. It would be appreciated. And if you're on Rumble, YouTube, or X, please give us the positive affirmation button. It's appreciated.
Let's meet the goal of 25 cowboy hat and mustache.
Oh, that's right. We're trying to get to 25 cowboy hats and mustaches for me. Kimmer just sent a whole bunch of roses. Thank you so much, Kimmer. It's truly appreciated. Tina said, my son's, hey, there we go. We got a hat there. Tina said, my son's high school had a job fair for 9th to 12th graders and the FBI came. It doesn't surprise me that they're looking that young. What do you guys think?
Why did the FBI go there?
Yeah. I know. Ashley just sent a couple of hats. Thank you so much, Ashley. It's truly appreciated. Jimbo said the rich can go fight the next war. Very true. Very true. How many of the elites or the nefarious people in our government have their kids not be part of the military? Well, I think it's significant.
Well, why was Barron Trump's room ransacked by the FBI, but not Hunter Biden's room?
Right. Exactly. I mean, it's just so far off the deep end. It's not even funny.
Because Barron wasn't hiding any little white baggies.
Yeah, exactly. Very true, Alex. I mean, come on. We had everything about the guy driving in New Orleans in his truck. We knew everything. We knew what color his toothbrush was he used that morning within a few hours. But here we are a year later. We can't figure out where the bag came from in one of the most secure areas in the world. Come on.
Well, you know that a lot of this, you know, you can relate to schools also. When you stop taking the Pledge of Allegiance out of our schools in this country, and you replace it with the Quran, I'm not exactly sure the pronunciation, but when you try to do that, and they implement a different culture, in our country today, we have more homeschooled than ever because of that fact. And when the government tries to tell us what we can believe in and what we can't believe in, what we should do and what we shouldn't do, a lot of that started back when we were basically bluffed into getting a jab.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. It's for those that did not get that, you know what? You resisted $1 trillion ad campaign, and my hat is off to you, as with myself. I think that's wonderful. But it's right. It's a huge, huge feather in your cap if you did resist that, as I did. Kimmer sent a whole bunch of roses.
What color feather is that supposed to be, That's Sam?
What's that?
What color feather is that supposed to be?
Oh, I don't know. White? Who knows? Kimmer sent a hat, mustache, and some roses. Thank you so much, Kimmer. Hans Peterson, a lot of them get from trees, and that's what the Constitution says. That's right. Remember, about 3 years ago, they tried to change that law so that wouldn't be the case, and they weren't successful in doing that. Ashley just sent a hat and mustache. Thank you so much, Ashley. Kimmer, again, thank you, Kimmer.
Every time we double tap the screen, we're trying to get to 50,000 hearts.
There we go. Yep, like we can do it. Jen Gant Rock 69 said, I don't do needles. Good. Yeah, nor should you, in my opinion. MJRH, Pure Blood, excellent. We have Kim P with a bicep and a whole bunch of clapping hands. Wonderful. Joy Joyce Kelly, True Blood, excellent. FL Pro said, Sam, I think the mustache suits you. I've had other people say that as well. Stephen Ichabod Palmer, proud pure blood here. Wonderful. Same here. Gen X holds, no jab here. Excellent. Kimmer 110. We have the Maria 123 said they probably did use the Coke to keep Joe looking alive. Wouldn't surprise me. Oh gosh. So again, we have significant developments in Canada, which could be the 51st state. And let's not forget about the comments that were made about the Panama Canal. I mean, that's still out there in the ether as well. What do you guys think?
Just another one of many topics that we were forced to look at. Not even forced, but it's just another subject to make us scatterbrained.
Right, to divert the attention.
Sure.
Hey, you guys keep it going. I'll be right back, okay?
Yes, sir.
Is there any updates on the Luigi Mangione case?
No.
Not heard that.
I'm bouncing my VPN around different countries right now to see what top stories everywhere else is. Trudeau seems to be at the top of most news organizations worldwide. South Africa, Japan, Australia.
What platforms do you use
Platforms for
to get all your global information in other countries?
So you use a VPN, and I use Brave browser. And so in Brave, you just type in, like I'll connect to Japan and type in today's news. And it will source. If you're connected to Canada, it'll bring up Canadian, right? As it crawls the web, it's going to crawl the web based off of location to bring you stories. So like right now I'm connected. Let me see where I connected to last. Yeah, I'm still connected to Japan. So when you type in breaking news, it brings up Twitter, Yahoo, Google, AP, obviously. But then you get into Indian Express, News 24, smh.com.au, which is Australian breaking news. It just kind of mixes up the algorithm as to where your location is, as to what kind of results it kicks back to you. So yeah, Justin Trudeau is at the top of everybody's in all countries.
Oh yeah, I mean that was just so out of nowhere, but yet expected at the same time. I really believe because of that signifies that they are going to unite with the United States.
Well, see, you guys bring this up. Where do you get this information? A lot of people are happy just to get on the TikTok in the morning and find Sam's Daily Dispatch. And I think for news, that's about all people want to hear, and that's enough of that political stuff in the morning for most people, including me. I watch Sam every day, and that's enough for a lot of people. We're covering topics that go well beyond that when we're on the live with Sam.
Yeah, I mean, I think, well, thank you, first of all, for watching every day, James. It's truly appreciated. I think having a synopsis, that's part of why I do it. A lot of us that are, on the live here, we probably tend to dig more than most people, but I think the average person just wants to know kind of an idea of what's going on. But with the lives, I think it's important to have that deep dive on these different subjects, in my opinion.
I agree. Now, what about what's going on with China?
Well, I just today, I think President Trump came out and said something to the effect that he's confident that Xi Jinping and him are going to get along really well. I think that there's a lot more back channels going on with China, North Korea, Russia than people realize. What do you guys think?
I think there's a whole lot more going on. How great would it be to be a fly on the wall to hear some of the conversations that are happening between world leaders that'll never make public airwaves. I mean, we know Putin's come out and said he's never talked to Biden. Like, hello, does that not scream to the world that Biden doesn't have any authority or respect from world leaders in any capacity? That's unheard of. And in my lifetime, that's unheard of, that world leaders have never talked to each other. To me, that says might not be a legitimate dude sitting in that chair.
Fully agree.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, zero respect at this point.
Right.
Well, I think because it was if the script was handed out before the movie to the critical actors in the movie, then they all have a part to play, right? And God, there's too many indicators that the current person in that chair is not the current person in that chair.
Right.
I'll just say it.
Right. Lisa Grant 712 said, "The more I know, the more afraid I am." Lisa, let me speak directly to you. I don't think there's anything to be afraid of. I think that the Patriots have much more control than most people realize. That's not to say that things can't happen, and it's always best to keep your head on a swivel. But dear, don't worry. We're moving in the right direction. So many tectonic shifts are taking place at the same time that I want you to realize that there's nothing to worry about and very little to worry about in the long run. Sure, keep yourself, aware of your surroundings, but don't worry. What do you guys think?
Well, I agree. I agree with your statement. There is something that's pressing that I want to kind of back Leslie Fontaine on. She said Biden banned offshore drilling. That's my family's livelihood. January 20th can't come fast enough. So when they ban when Biden signs a deal that bans offshore drilling, is that immediate? They basically shut off your drills, you're done? Is that immediate, or how long does it take for something like that to go into effect?
That's a good question. I don't know. But again, when the truth of 2020 comes out, anything that was done in that 4-year period is vitiated. Everything. So
we got a comment from Trupper saying, how could Putin speak to Biden when Biden is 6 feet under?
Well, there are people that we may recognize, but may not be the same people. I mean, how many times has President Trump said that Joe Biden doesn't even know he's alive, or Joe Biden's shot, or all these different things? Well, there's a reason for that. And I'm not going to get into the details here because of the nature of the live, but there's a lot more going on than people realize.
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot more going on.
Yes. And
does anybody else follow Jack Cruz, Dr. Jack Cruz?
I've never heard of him.
Oh boy.
Who is he?
So he's a brain surgeon. He's been around for 40 plus years. He's one of the most respected brain surgeons in the world, quite honestly. I will forward over some things to you, Sam, so that you can understand because you're into health and wellness, right? And I think this guy will be right up your alley in a lot of ways. But he is one of the most articulate and incredible patriots I think that I've ever seen. I've followed his work for years. He's huge on red light therapy. He is a very loud and outspoken person against the jab. And so he just recently did a podcast. He is retired from brain surgery. He has sat down with some of the incoming administration folks to talk about pharma and jab and the criminality surrounding it. And so he literally retired from brain surgery, did his last brain surgery, I think like a month and a half ago. And he is 100% dedicated now to putting out the information that he has connected the dots on. I will send you some stuff over.
Yeah, send it over on email if you could, Alex.
I will, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see that.
Question. What do you guys think of Project Bluebeam?
Distractions.
Like, do you think all these drones and all these sightings that we've been seeing, do you think that that's Project Bluebeam?
Well, let me tell you guys a story. So 30 years ago, I was involved with the church, and there was a guy who, his name was Chuck Missler. And Chuck was the gentleman who turned around Western Digital 25, 30 years ago. And he was very dialed in to a lot of government happenings back then. This is 30 years ago. And I had multiple meetings with him. But one time back then, he said 30 years ago, they had the ability to create holograms that were a mile long and that you wouldn't know standing on the ground that it wasn't real. Now, that was 30 years ago. Could you imagine what they might have today? Another story, a family friend was part of the Rand Corporation, and I won't use his name because he's no longer with us, but he was part of the Rand Corporation 30 years ago, 25, 30, 35 years ago. And back then, he was telling me that our satellites were so accurate that they could count the blades of grass 25, 30, 35 years ago. So could you imagine what we have today?
Facts. They can read license plates from space.
Of course,
But they couldn't find Bin Laden for 10 years.
Or a white baggie in the White House.
Right. Hey,
Well, I can tell you,
you got
I can
Darren
tell
from
you back
Newport
from my
Beach,
Apache
California. Which Darren is that? Is that Darren, my buddy Darren, or is that a different Darren from Newport Beach? Sorry, guys, go ahead.
well, I was going to say, when you guys talk about the ability of what we are able to see in space, back in my Apache helicopter days, we could count the hairs on a bird's head from 14 miles.
Wow.
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 So, there is I guess a degree of Maximus when it comes to things like that. But I can say that it's not any secret anymore what the Hellfire missile can do. But the Hellfire missile had capabilities that well exceeded 30 miles. And those are the kind of things that when Sam says we had the ability to cast a hologram 30 years ago, a mile long, I believe it. The Apache helicopter came back, and I joined that program back in 1985. So that was a long time ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, from a technology standpoint, and being in the IT industry for 30 plus years, the technology that exists versus the technology that is commercially available is 7 to 10 years apart. So take the fastest computer chip that you can walk down and buy today, right now, from a consumer perspective. What they are currently using in our military and in high-tech companies that have the R&D programs and the ability to dump millions of dollars in is 7 to 10 years ahead, 7 to 10 years faster. So look at the speed of processors today versus 10 years ago. Okay, 10 years ago, the technology you are using today was created.
Right.
Well, I agree with that. And I can tell you from firsthand experience in the Apache program, today we can use our phone and get within 2 or 3 feet, or even some cases less than a foot, by using GPS technology. Back then it was illegal for human or any regular civilian to have GPS technology like that. The Apache helicopter was more or less the first aircraft that used GPS technology to seek out, locate, and destroy the enemy. And as time went along, the civilians were allowed to have that kind of data. But you're right. And that happened, I'm going to say 15 years before it was released.
I believe the technology, the date of technology goes beyond 10 years. I think personally, whatever technology we have now was developed and existing 40 years ago, maybe 50 years ago. Because if you watch James Bond movies in the 70s and in the 60s, they had GPS, they had trackers, they had FaceTime. It's like, where did they get these ideas from?
Well, I think you're right, Ronnie. I think the government, Black Ops, what have you, is 40, 50 years ahead of where we think they are. I agree with that. We have, so everybody on TikTok, please double tap that screen. If you can send that, we're trying to get to 25, the hat and mustache raises our ratings and we can reach more people. If you're on Rumble, YouTube, or X, please give us the thumbs up or the positive affirmation button. It would be appreciated. Now, something I just noticed, you guys, that came across, News Treason, Dave and Mark over at News Treason Channel 17 just posted something from Leading Reports saying that Donald Trump Jr. is reportedly expected to arrive in Greenland tomorrow.
Oh.
Interesting. Trudeau resigns today. Don Jr. is going to be in Greenland tomorrow. What's going on? What do you guys think?
New governor.
Acquisition.
New governor.
Yeah, exactly. James Handy or Jane Handy said, so they can see into houses and hear what they're saying. Yeah, that we know that technology exists. They can see right through walls.
So the wireless routers that we use today, they can effectively reverse the signal and create. So if you've seen the Batman movies, where Morgan Freeman shows Batman basically the super seeing eye that can see inside of walls and all of that stuff. Legitimately, that is a reality. Like that's 100% can be done with the Wi-Fi router that sits in your home today.
Well, if you want to, this would probably make sense to a lot of people. You are visiting just a scenario. You're visiting with your friends about an upcoming vacation, whether it be a cruise or you're going to go somewhere. And all of a sudden, you have all these suggestions coming up, whether it's email or whether it's on your Facebook page about the very topic you talked about 2 days prior.
Oh yeah, if you want to test that theory, spend 5 minutes talking about gerbil food or bird food or cat.
Exactly.
Seriously,
I
and
know.
watch the ads that start popping up.
Oh, I know. You're absolutely right. So let's go back even. So I owned a technology company from 1997 to 2001 during the dot-com boom. And it wasn't software related. We were integrated circuit brokers. But I was very deep into that industry at the time. And so back in 2001, there was a law that was passed that essentially said every electronic device has to have a backdoor for the government to access. Well, when it passed, nobody really knew anything about it. 10 years later, 2012, 2014, 2016, people were up in arms because of FOIA, that information was released. And they were all up in arms, but they didn't realize that it had passed 10 years prior. So when you talk about, are we being watched? Are we being monitored? Of course we are. That started in 2001.
That was a big part of Eric Snowden, correct?
I'm not. You could be right, James. I'm not positive.
Jeremy Snowden.
Okay, it was Snowden, the guy that ran because he was in trouble here.
Jeremy Snowden.
He was the whistleblower. He said, "Hey, this is what's going on." I watched a video of him the other night saying, "You can remove the battery out of your phone. We can still listen to you." Yep.
I'm going to tell you another story. So during that time, when I was in this technology company, the partner I had at the time, who will remain nameless, we had a disagreement. There was some internal workings of the company where I didn't agree with what he wanted to do. He owned 51%. I had less. He asked me to leave the company. Well, the reason that I had left was because he was doing things that I didn't agree with from an integrity standpoint. So a couple of years go by. I didn't really talk to him. And he calls me one day and he says, "Hey, let's have breakfast." I said, "Sure." So we get together for breakfast in San Clemente, California. And he comes in and he sits down. Now, let me back up. He got sued by Microsoft about a year before that, specifically for the reasons that I didn't want to do what he wanted to do, and we went our separate ways. 2 years later, we meet for breakfast. He sits down at the restaurant where I'm sitting. He comes in, he takes his phone apart, he takes the battery out. And I'm like, what's that all about? Turns out the thing that I told him I didn't want to do anymore when we were together, he kept doing. He gets sued by Microsoft. They slap him on the hand the first time. He does it again a year later. That time, they shut him down. They went after him for $25 million. And he said that they had recordings of him on his phone when it was in his desk or on his desk turned off. So you're absolutely right, James. They can record. Why do you think it is that you can't remove batteries from cell phones anymore? Is there one phone on the market that you can do that with? No.
I don't know. I don't know if we've talked about this before, Sam. You and I may have, but I don't know if we've done it on a live broadcast. So back in the late 90s, early 2000s, there was a new technology that was floated, and it was going to revolutionize the ability for Americans to have high-speed internet at home. And it is the ability to float the internet bandwidth across electrical transmission lines. So basically, the electric companies were going to get into the internet game, and all you had to do was plug a device into the socket in your home. In doing so, you'd plug your computer into that, and they can deliver the bandwidth via electricity transmission lines, right?
Well,
You know what that's called? It's called time division multiplexing.
And it got squashed, right? It got squashed because effectively it would have crushed any of the ISPs. It would have crushed Ma Bell before the Ma Bells were broken up, right? And the monopoly and all of these things. About the same time that they were being broken up, it would have crushed the telecoms and the internet industry. And so it got squashed. But here's my twist to that. That technology did not go away. And who would be one to exploit that technology? Well, DARPA, any government agency that wanted to. So when you hear people wearing tinfoil hats saying that every electronic in your house has the ability to listen, the probability of that is very high.
right.
Because that technology did not go away.
Well, and
Let's chew on that one for a little bit.
And it's the same principle with Edison and Tesla. The reason they went with Edison is because you could package it and you could sell it. With Tesla's energy, it was free. There was no way for them to control it and charge for it.
Alex, I got a question for you. Do you think that VPNs really protect users?
I think it depends on.
Alex, you muted yourself.
Yeah, I have. Hold on. All right, I'm back. Sorry. I think it depends, one, on the VPN. Two, it depends on your firewall. Are you using a software VPN or using a hardware VPN? And so I'm not going to go into too much detail about the protection layers that I have in place, but my VPN point to point, end to end is hardware encrypted. And from that point on, it goes through a multiplier of connections. So it would take somebody an exorbitant amount of time to pinpoint me.
Okay.
That's pretty ingenious. I like that. But for information, and just so you know, this is part of the aviation world. For information to go both ways and extract anything, it's called time division multiplexing. And it happens at such a fast rate, there's no stuttering, there's basically no delay. It's instantaneous, both ways. And that's an incredible technology.
It is. And inside of that technology, you have packets, right? So if you want to understand how they find information, when a connection is made, you are sending a package. Think of it as an envelope, okay, back and forth between the destinations. So if I'm connecting to my server, I'm sending packets to that server is sending packets back to me, letting me know that it received my package. And inside of those packages are a lot of information, date and timestamps, what bits of data are being transmitted. If I'm sending a file somewhere, that file is broken into millions of pieces. The packets are sent across the line, and then it's reassembled, if that makes sense to the audience. So that's how they find people. When you intercept a packet, so if we go back to 2020 and we start talking about they have it all, when you have a packet, you know where that packet came from, you know where that packet was going, you know the responses to that packet, you know what information was in that packet. And so when you really start to diagnose communications on that level, I can use a simple free tool to download called Wireshark. And my boys could not type the word fart on the internet that I didn't know what was going on inside of my house, because you can watch those communications. You couldn't send a text message through my house that I didn't know what was in that text message, right? Because I had to protect my children. My oldest son actually got in trouble for Googling SpongeBob SquarePants naked. I was like, "What are you doing, man? You're like 8." I don't know, Dad. I'm sorry. But they knew, man, don't type anything in the internet because that'll catch me.
Hey, Alex, isn't that similar to the technology that Oculus made mainstream, having to do with the amount of information that could be put in each bucket?
Oculus. So the only Oculus I'm thinking of would be like the Oculus Rift, like the VR stuff.
Right. So, isn't that what made them? The reason I say this is that so before Oculus was purchased by Facebook, and Oculus was a standalone company. This is back in like 2015. I had a lot of friends in the technology industry. I had another company going, and this one guy introduces me to another guy, and he goes, "Hey, I want to bring something over to your place." This is when I was living in downtown LA. So he comes over one night, brings in a briefcase, and I had never met the guy before, and he said, "Oh, I'm so-and-so, and I'm involved with the Oculus company." And this is before the VR came out.
Right.
And he said, I said, "Oculus," and I said, "Please don't tell me that's what you have in that briefcase." And he kind of chuckled, and sure enough, he pulled out the Oculus Rift glasses. I got to demo those in my living room back in 2000. It was either 14 or 15. And, it was incredible. I mean, I couldn't explain what it was like at that time to experience something like that. But what he said, the difference, and I'm taking this from a layman's approach, but he essentially said that these buckets of information, that the reason Oculus was ahead of the curve of their competition was that those buckets of information were created in such a way that much more information could be plugged into them.
Correct.
Is that
so? Their wireless technology. So when you're sending information from one place to another, two things happen: encryption and compression, right? And so their compression algorithm to be able to compress that data, so they could send large packets across and then uncompress, so that you get these amazing visuals. Yes, they were ahead of their time from that aspect. Correct.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought. So that's kind of what you guys are describing there at some level.
Correct.
Recently, Elon Musk made a statement. I believe it was on the Joe Rogan interview right before the election a couple months ago, that these frequencies and these airwaves, they extract, they extract your thoughts. Like, you ever thought about something while you're browsing on your phone and then ads pop up about it? You don't speak it, but you think it, and then it shows up on your phone? Well, supposedly, according to Elon Musk, they abstract signals from your brain, and that's why you automatically get these ads on your phone just by thinking about them.
There is a lot of truth to that. So my mentor that I studied underneath for meditation has actually been to multiple universities where they actually hooked him up to all of the wires and diodes attached to his beautiful bald head while he would meditate. And they put side by side what a normal human brain does and how his brain operated, and the ability for there's different states of frequencies: the alpha state, beta state, theta, delta, and he could push his mind into a theta state, which quite honestly can be dangerous, but he could do it at such a rate that it was mind bending. So I don't believe it's out of the realm of possibility at all that there will come a point in time where they can read your thoughts. I believe that 100%.
Isn't that part of the 6th generation jet fighters that we have in the air? That's what you've just talked about is part of that aircraft?
I don't know that to be true or not true. I don't know, but it wouldn't surprise me.
The mind simply being is because the mind thinks faster than the human body can react.
Well, correct. our thoughts travel at the speed of light. I mean, it's electricity, right? We have these electric impulses in our brains that make everything that happens in our body happen. Dr. Jack Cruz that I was talking about earlier, when he starts talking about light therapy, he's talking about mending bones with light, that our bones actually put off every cell in our body puts off light. Anyway, we're going down a totally different rabbit hole. But, I don't think at all that is out of the realm of possibility when you start looking at what Musk is doing for, plugging you into a robotic suit for those that have, spinal injuries, and being able to get up and walk and move and do those things simply by having those diodes connected to your brain, so that you can think, I'm going to move this hand, and then all of a sudden your robotic arm starts moving.
Neuralink, yep. And basically, layman's terms, if anybody saw the 1995 Batman movie with Val Kilmer, where Jim Carrey comes out with that machine where it visualizes whatever you're thinking, but he says, the information you're sending out, we're also getting information from your brain.
100%.
Right. I mean, there's some of the breakthroughs that we're going to be seeing in the near future, I believe. What is it, Alex? It's like 6,000. There's a government agency that was tasked to acquire patents that they didn't want out in the public. I think it was over almost 6,000 patents. Are you familiar with that?
Yes.
Easily, if not more.
Yeah. So once that gets released, oh my gosh, we're in a whole brave new world.
Oh, yeah.
Jane Handy said she recently bought a red light therapy belt and can't wait to try it. Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about red light therapy. I've never done it myself, but I've heard a lot of good things about it.
That podcast that I emailed you, Sam, he's going to talk about the red light therapy, and he has a red light wall at his clinic where he treats NFL players.
Oh, very cool.
He had a personal friend of the family or whatever. Jack actually lives in, I think, Costa Rica now. Anyway, and comes back and forth to Florida. But he gave his keys to his clinic to this elderly man in his 80s that had broken some bones and had macular degeneration and some other things. And he told the guy, go use the light wall X amount of days. It's a red light therapy wall. He said, set it, I gave him all the settings for the times and what frequency and blah, blah. And so the man went back to the bone therapist and they couldn't find the fracture. Subsequently, a few months later, he went to his eye doctor, and the eye doctor said, I don't know what you've been doing, but there are zero traces of macular degeneration in your eyeball, because the man wasn't wearing the protective glasses that you're supposed to wear with the red light therapy wall.
Right. Well, there's a lot of research out there about just sitting in the sun with your eyes closed and the amount of sun that can come through that will heal everything from glaucoma to cataracts.
Jack says, watch every sunrise and every sunset.
Yeah, I agree with him.
Lift your eyes.
So President Trump just tweeted or truthed out this following. He said, many people in Canada love being the 51st state. The United States can no longer suffer the massive trade deficits and subsidies that Canada needs to stay afloat. Justin Trudeau knew this and resigned. If Canada merged with the U.S., there would be no tariffs, taxes would go way down, and they would be totally secure from the threat of Russian and Chinese ships that are constantly surrounding them. Together, what a great nation it would be. Oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah, it's done.
I got to think, you guys, what do you think? That's a pretty bold statement.
It's
Jesus. Wow.
One of the Bleed 1019 brought up the question, can you explain data centers? And this is about the third message. They're curious about these data centers that are going up all over the country, well, basically all over the world.
What are they?
Alex, I'm sure you're in tune with this.
Yeah, so I used to own data centers. So I guess I need to understand, do you need an explanation of what a data center is?
Yeah.
Basically, it is a building that has multiple internet connections, and we're talking 10 gigabit streams, right? You get in with Verizon, you get in with Zayo, you get in with some of the large telecommunication companies that only deal with the internet. You have large amounts of electricity coming into the building, and you have cooling. You have to have very large air conditioning units in each of the rooms, where it is literally rows and rows and rows of 6-foot tall cabinets that house servers. And so most organizations, as we've moved from the early 2000s to where we are today, back in the late 90s, early 2000s, companies would have a server sitting in a closet, and that's where their email and their files and those things were stored. And as we've moved to what is now the cloud, right? We're hosting all of these services. Data center is simply a very large building or room that is rows and rows and rows of air conditioners, electricity, and internet connection.
Just like the movies, basically, where you see these laboratories of just all these hard drives, like rows and rows and rows of them.
Rows and rows and rows and rows and rows of servers. So the data center that I previously owned in Kansas City, we were in what would be called a carrier hotel. So it's a building that all of the internet providers come into. So that's why they call it a carrier hotel. We had the largest dark fiber hub in the Midwest inside of our data center. So dark fiber, everybody's heard of fiber optics. Dark fiber, originally when fiber optics came out, you could do red light, right? And so the information is transported across the cable via light. And when dark fiber came out, you're no longer limited to a 3 or 6 channel spectrum of light. You had 64 million channels of light to communicate over. So I could be communicating across yellow light at the same time I'm communicating across blue light, at the same time I'm communicating across, purple, violet, green. Thus, you're starting to get into the world now where we have 10 gigabit across that spectrum of light, and data centers are getting much more condensed. Servers are getting smaller. The ability to store data is getting more efficient. So we don't have these very large hard drives anymore. They're very small chips that hold a large amount of data. So
You mean like an SSD drive?
Correct. An SSD drive is no longer, everybody calls it a hard drive, but it's no longer a hard drive. It's simply a memory chip with a high-speed random access memory chip, RAM, basically, a large RAM chip.
Right. And now, but isn't there some sort of a limit in terms of the number of transistors that they can put on it?
As far as hard drives and SSD go?
Well, I mean, just memory chips in general. Isn't that what the basis of a semiconductor is? How many resistors they can put on each level or whatever?
Correct, but look at what NVIDIA just has come out with. I mean, and then we get into quantum computing, right, and qubits, and the newest of technologies, and how they did a problem on the latest quantum computer that would take something like 400 billion years for our best chips today to be able to do. Like, that goes back pre the Big Bang. Like, it's pretty incredible where technology is going. I mean, we're on the cusp in our lifetime of seeing, just look at your lifetime and my lifetime, Sam, in 50 years, how technology just through the 1800s, the early 1900s, we hit mid 1950s, and technology takes off straight up. I mean, that curve goes straight up, and it's only going to accelerate from there.
Absolutely. I mean, look, Sam was around when they would use telegrams. You were around when they invented cell phones. I was around when they made FaceTime.
You're such a smart ass, Ronnie. You know that?
I got to go feed my pet dinosaur.
Yeah, exactly. All right, you guys. So we've been at about an hour and a half. What do you say we wrap it up for today?
Well, one topic.
Go ahead.
Has RFK come out with anything? Because RFK has been very quiet lately.
Well,
So I think we should save this conversation for our next get together, and this is why. I'm going to have some offline conversations with Sam about the video and Dr. Jack Cruz. Jack Cruz has actually sat down with Shanahan and RFK, and this was later in the year last year, and has recently done a couple of interviews recently, and he was very hopeful about the RFK Shanahan scenario when he very first sat down with them, and now he is not hopeful at all. So let's table that, and maybe, I don't know if you have Ronnie's email address, Sam. You want to share that interview with him?
yeah, I'll send it over to him.
I'm a member of it's the only Patreon I pay for, Danny Jones, and Danny Jones does some incredible interviews that have been immediately pulled from the big media places with the guests that he's having on. But he gets into SV40 and well, let's have that discussion next time around.
Okay, we'll make that the topic next time. Okay, guys, Ronnie, Alex, James, you guys are the best. Thank you for being here. Everybody on TikTok, Rumble, YouTube, and X, thank you so much for being here. We'll be back on live again, hopefully later this week. And in the meantime, I hope everybody has a wonderful day, and we'll talk again soon. Thanks, guys.
Look, everyone.
Thank you. And it takes one to know one, brother. Thank you very much.
Thank you.